Welcome, everybody. Welcome to NAB. I guess everyone's been here probably a while, but it is Tuesday, April 21st. Thanks for being here at the AWS Theater. My name is Lucas Johnson. I'm a senior manager of enterprise services at AWS. I've had the pleasure of working with these three fine folks up here with the MBA, as well as my colleague from AWS down the line. I'll do quick intros. So we have Keith Cafferty here, who's an AVP of product and DevOps at NBA. We have Ethan Folz, AVP in charge of digital operations at the NBA, and Patrick Locke, a senior technical account manager with AWS. So as you can see from the title slide, how the NBA transformed digital streaming at scale with AWS. So we're going to talk quickly about unified operations, which is a new product offering that AWS support released at reInvent. And we've been partnering with the NBA before that, frankly, but in an official capacity with UOps for like better part of a year plus now, as they launched their inaugural season on AWS, starting with the Summer League. And we're going to talk about the journey. You might notice that I'm in a basketball jersey at a professional conference, sort of in costume. Why? Well, one, I don't know, for those of you that are Laker fans, my last name's Johnson. This is Magic Johnson. Pretty cool. I had to shamelessly plug that. I am a lifelong Lakers fan, by the way. Before all you LeBron lovers out there, like rebuilding years, I earned this jersey. Okay. That's all I'm saying. If you're a Celtics fan, I'm sorry. We could talk later, but I make no promise about how that chat goes. Anyway, so you might ask what unified operations is. Unified operations, as I mentioned, is the top tier support now, but quick hits. We're going to get straight into the chat with the team here. Designated team of media specialists that are effectively an extension of your team. It's a very different experience than sort of a transactional support model. We really become a partnership with you. We also work very, very closely to make sure that while things are running day to day, we engage quickly, right? So we collaborate often, we prep early, and when something goes wrong, we engage quickly. Makes sense, but it's really the core tenets of what this engagement's been all about. And in the media space, as many of us here are aware, things are nuanced, there are esoterics, there are weird historical things that happen that we need to take mind of. And doing those things in the cloud can be challenging, right? So this team has been hugely important. I would say the collective team has done a great job working together, and we're really excited for the future. But we're not here to talk about all that. We're really here to talk about the cool stuff the NBA has done. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So Keith, Ethan, either one of you can tip this one off. So walk us through the scale of what you've built on AWS, and what does that really mean in terms of the NBA scale and global reach?
Yeah, I'll get started here. Love the jersey. Shout out to that. I don't think that's officially licensed product, but beautiful nonetheless. Authentic.
My bad.
No, I think just this is a good one to get started on, to talk about the global reach, and basketball is truly a global game, right? And it's the fastest growing sport in the world. I think that's done kind of intentionally by the NBA, and there's many ways that we kind of participate in that. They notice that we have global games. We just announced the Mexico City game for next year, and also make our games and basketball programming available in over 200 countries. All right. So that's kind of where our team comes in and plays a part there. So my role in the digital operations space, or one of my roles, is to lead the digital operations center. So our team is monitoring 24/7, 365, all of the NBA's digital assets, right? And the reason why it is kind of a year-round 24/7 approach is because it's not just about the live games that we have, but also what happens after that. Many of our fans are time shifted internationally, watching those assets and games after the fact. So we have a follow the sun model, where our team's based both in our Secaucus office in New Jersey and internationally to help with that. So we're prepared to handle that. In terms of the scale, we support over 10,000 live streams a year, right? So it's pretty relentless for us. We support not only the NBA products, but the WNBA, G League, Basketball Africa League. So there's not too much downtime for us, not too much rest. But we're happy to take on the role and make that available for our fans globally.
Ethan got the right of it. Like, we work very closely together. I'm more on the infrastructure side, so to make sure things are ready. But while the game time is the most important time, and we are very aware of that, basketball never stops. It's always available to our fans. Our fans are all over the world, and our teams work closely together to make sure that we hit that availability for them. We want to make sure we deliver that quality content. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but it really is we're very proud of the work we do. So we wanted to share some of that with you and tell you about a little bit about our infrastructure and how we just make it all work.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to kick this over to Patrick. So let's talk about the prep here. So we set stage of how wide this is. We talked earlier about early prep, early engagement. Can you share with us, and feel free to weigh in, guys, as it makes sense, how you and the NBA prepared for the season, right? Going all the way back to Summer League, the activities heading into that. I understand it plays a critical role. Maybe we can kind of share with the audience how that looks.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing we did was actually not start building right away, was to listen and learn about all the workloads the NBA has on AWS. Kudos to the NBA. They've been so open with their knowledge, as if we're part of their extended team. So I really want to call that out. It's not possible without that partnership. So we learned a lot as far as AWS team, our, unified operation, media team. We learned a lot, about the architecture, about the challenges that they have run into in the past, and then, things that keep you up at night, Keith, right? So we make sure that we ask those questions so that we could tackle them. So some of the topics, to give you a little bit insights into topics that we talk about early on, it's capacity planning, scalability, resiliency, and observability. So those are some of the topics that we spent a lot of time on early on, right? So I want to give kind of dive a little deeper on one of the aspect, which is observability, as far as the work that my team has done. We apply CloudWatch alarmed following the best practice of AWS, and we customize it to their needs. We ended up creating over 350 alarms across all workloads. It's a lot of alarms. It gets noisy in the beginning, but it really gave us great insights on the infrastructure. So we deployed those, and we're able to validate the threshold to understand the traffic pattern during Summer League. And then we rinse and repeat on subsequent marquee games like opening week and Christmas Day and now playoffs. So
I think that's a lot of what we did was at the beginning, right? I think even going back to our first conversation, when you guys were coming on board, I think the one thing that we wanted to make sure and focused on was, is there going to be experts with that custom knowledge for us, right? I think that was really important to us and really set the foundation, and it resulted in all the great things that you mentioned, Patrick. But I also want to just mention, right, that I think that's really what got us off to a good start and going this year.
Yeah, we've alluded to it, but the planning is really the most important part of what we did. We spent a lot of time on whiteboards just talking about all the different permutations, traffic patterns, how we think the infrastructure is going to flow. And I guess like carpentry, that planning ahead of time and before we made our first cut really makes all the difference. And I guess that really is. It's the planning phase just took forever. It did take forever, though.
I wish we had longer, but
I do wish we had longer.
We always wish we had longer to plan, don't we? There's never enough time. I do want to touch on something that Ethan said I think is spot on. So interestingly, as we've been launching unified operations, historically in the media side, we had been focused really on elemental services and kind of the native AWS services. But as Ethan pointed out, the expertise that the team has is sort of, it transcends native services. Media is different. As I mentioned at the beginning, it is a different language. It is a different behavior pattern. And so that, I'm glad to hear that, Ethan, that it's been effective for you. So that's great. I'm going to switch gears here. Why don't we, yeah. So we talked about this is the inaugural season. So things are going great. You guys are doing awesome things. but you had to maintain 24/7 streaming operations during the season. Like while this planning was happening, you were still doing your day job, right? So, how did that collaboration, like walk from your perspective, like how did you balance this, right? How did you balance the two, the planning and the day to day? And what was that collaboration like for you guys?
It's, going back to the planning phase, and I think that's really what it all comes down to is we would have to coordinate, making sure that we accounted for what we knew was coming, the traffic patterns we knew coming, and getting ready for that, that large growth, and just spending time with the experts from AWS, helping us to vet our architecture, vet what we're planning. We'd like to think that we know what we're doing very well, but having that knowledge base available to us as we plan this out, so as we start rolling out these things, that's really what made it possible for us. Of course, we have to always be available. We stood up these regions. We planned out for infrastructure. We use Summer League, and I do want to talk a little bit about Summer League. We mentioned how we use that as our starting point, but Summer League is a great time for us where we get to, actually try new things, and it's the NBA as a whole, but also from the infrastructure side, we get to experiment with new traffic patterns, and we use that in collaboration with all the planning to really vet what we do.
Yeah. I like that you brought up Summer League. Very locationally relevant. Happens around the corner here in Las Vegas. It's the first time that all the 30 teams kind of compete and get to play against each other after the season. It was really important and timely for us. So I guess taking a step back, we definitely did some work during the season and during the playoffs. And I think we had, a lot prepared, but that period in July, I think we had 12 weeks or so leading up to it to really make sure we had all of the operational components in place. And we use that as like a soft launch. So I think one thing that's really important for us in everything that we do is to understand that NBA games really only happen once, right? Like we have one chance to kind of perfect, the product that we're putting out there and make it available to our fans. We do a lot of testing in our lower environments, and we have thousands of simulated games that are running, and I think that helps too, but there's nothing quite like that live game. So having the opportunity in the middle of July is really important to us, and I think a lot of our business lines actually innovate during that time period. Our broadcast teams, try out new technologies and get to see that in a real environment, not necessarily the night to night regular season mode, but almost in a condensed matter where there's games happening from noon to, end of the night and really late on the East Coast too. So I think just being able to kind of soft launch some of these things, and put that as like our finish line, but also the starting point for us in a tight timeline was really important.
I do want to just jump on that a little bit. It's for those of you who aren't in a live sporting event or live events, it's a different thing. No matter how much you practice with the data sets in the lower environments, and we practiced a lot in the lower environments, until you get that first experience with that traffic coming in and you don't really know your system fully. You feel you know it, but it is a great time. And I really appreciated that Summer League experience. It showed, selfishly, I thought I did very well. So it showed how well we did, but it's a good experience.
So maybe let's talk a little bit more about how, without going too far in exposing the secret sauce here, but you talked about unpredictable traffic spikes. I mean, I think scale, everybody in this room probably thinks about, like, if you're building something, you're trying to attract a lot of eyeballs. That is the core engineering challenge, right? How do you keep it up? How do you make sure that if there's the Warriors and Lakers, go Lakers. If it's like 10 seconds left on the clock, that game's likely, and it's a playoff game or something, that's going to attract a lot more streams. The traffic patterns will kind of ramp up. Talk to us about how you guys architect and how you plan operationally for those moments.
I mean, yeah, I guess Keith's the architect, so I'll give you the credit on that. I mean, for us and just preparing for support, we do look at our game loads and how much traffic we're expecting from a game and stream perspective. The magic of sports is you really don't know what's going to happen, right? And we can say that this is a big matchup, and we're expecting a ton of viewership, but you truly don't know. And on the other side of the coin, it could be a game in the middle of the season where traditionally you wouldn't see that much viewership, but a record could be broken, right? So that unpredictability is always there. However, I feel like we're pretty prepared. Part of that is, allowing the team to have really solidified playbooks, when an issue does happen. So it doesn't happen frequently, but I think it's all in that preparation and having things documented. Our team in the digital operations center, it is there watching every single game, every single stream, using the telemetry to kind of tell us what is happening within our product under the hood. So there definitely are ways for us to prepare and predict. I will say maybe not weeks in advance for a magic moment, but when those things are coming up, we have really good visibility across our technology stack to be able to react in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, we know in broad terms what traffic patterns look like, as Ethan said, but there are always times that things change or something is driving traffic, which is exciting, right? That's it's an interesting experience. What we do, and I have to be careful here because I could sit here and talk for hours about the stuff we built because I'm very proud of it. But at a broad level, we use a combination of, multi-region, we load balance across globally, and we build out both pre-scaling, because we know when these events are happening and things are quick, we're going to get people signing on all at the same time. We'll see these jumps in traffic. And we also utilize auto scaling as well. We build in that feature so that we have that buffer room. And between those two, and because we've been doing basketball for a little while, we understand when to get ready for these things, and and we use that to be prepared for the unexpected. Like we have our regular traffic patterns, and we can handle a spike. And I think, working together, we've done a very decent job at it.
To add on to Keith's point, for marquee matchups, All-Star game, Christmas Day, we do our collaboration and preparing for, making sure that we can scale and pre-scale if needed, right? So transit gateway attachment, like we analyze the traffic, make sure that it can scale at the speed that it needs to. If not, we scale, ahead of time to make sure that we accommodate for that.
Yeah, those pre-planning calls are fantastic. We'll get in, we'll have, just go through the list of every single resource we utilize. And, we ask, are we ready for this? And the answer is always yes. It's never been a no, but we go through that process every time before a tempo event, before something major we think is going to happen. And we do touch points. I think weekly we meet and just to reconfirm that we're happy with everything. And, it's, that whole planning phase makes all the difference. I think I've said that a few times, but I might mention it one or two more times before we're done. Just get ready for that.
Repetition helps commit to memory. So you're doing a great job there. Patrick, I'm going to kick this one to you quickly before I move us on, but we talked about planning. There is planning on our side when it comes to the unified ops side. Maybe you could just quickly touch on how we're spinning up resources in the background. I don't mean tech. I mean people, right? And, especially for the 10 pole, we're heading into the playoffs. Maybe we could talk a little bit about what we're doing to have the right people engaged and what we do to help support the NBA just in case things go south.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a whole team. It's not just me. So we have a data engineer who is, subject matter expert in the data space and the media space. We have solution architect, TAMs. I could go on and on, but it's a big team that we all focus on different areas. But the goal is to make sure that, there is no downtime and we maximize the performance of the stream. So, not going to go into too much details on the nitty gritty, but, we do everything we could to make sure, their market event is a success.
And we see a lot of familiar AWS faces on the bridge. We have every night our team is sitting on a bridge, basically waiting for something to happen, proactively making our checks, right? Hours before the game starts, we're doing, our initial checks, but seeing the team on there, it gives a good sense of security. Usually a quiet bridge is a good thing, and that's typically what we have, but, just definitely good aspect of the relationship we built is having that trust that, you guys will show up and help support us on those big nights. So it's been great.
So we talked about all the planning when everything goes super well. everybody likes a good story. Maybe we could talk about a story where something didn't go quite as planned, but because of the collaboration we have, we were able to respond well, mitigate, move forward, and then kind of engineer around, basically preventing it from happening again, going back to Keith's favorite phase of planning, right? So, is there a story that you guys can think of without going, again, too deep in the exact weeds, but something that stands out in your mind?
So the one that I like to tell because it was a little nerve wracking in the moment, but it all worked out fine. I'll give you a little spoiler alert there. Opening, I believe it was opening night, right? Opening night, we're planned out. We did all of our phases. We were ready to go, and traffic is coming in now. We've got these things, and we're seeing an issue with our capacity on load balancers, I believe, and Patrick and team were sitting in our one of our conference rooms at the NBA, just saying, Keith, we see this spike. I think you have a capacity issue. We're going to get it addressed right now, and it must have been no more than 5-10 minutes from you identifying the problem. We're starting to see some, small impacts of it, till it was resolved. And that was just that kind of highlights something that could have been bad if we didn't have the planning and weren't ready to react to it. But working together, it was just resolved quickly. I think there was no impact at all to any of our customers. It was an impact to, the remaining hair that I had. I got a little balder after that one, but, it all worked out fine. And, yeah, that's the one that stands out to me. That was a big one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of going off with that story, we have a dedicated team as part of the unified operations. It's got incident response and detection team. They're monitoring all the alarms that we have created, ingest into their system. So as soon as the alarm pops, they're on the bridge with the right profile of engineer. So if you have issues, if the alarm was related to EKS, we already have the EKS engineer, subject matter expert on the bridge within 5 minutes to help troubleshoot the issues. So just want to call that out.
And I think the time has decreased on those, right? Since the start of the season, I think we caught a lot of them early on before we even went live. Spent a lot of time with our engineering teams. We always race to those to try to beat the AWS support engineers, and that's a little internal competition, but yeah, that's good.
Know about that.
Yeah, now you do. You got to see if we could step it up. Those are always very helpful. Yeah.
I do want to call it out for those who don't know the bridge. We keep talking about it. It is the most stressful, boring meeting you will ever be in. So there's no one talking, and that's a good thing. You don't want anyone talking. There's 30 people on a bridge just sitting there quiet. And if someone leaves their mic off and they start talking, you freak out for a second, like, oh, what's wrong? But it's nothing. It's usually someone just leaving their mic off. But it's hard to describe how stressful this quiet meeting is, but that's what these bridges are, and we use them for tentpoles, use them every night, right?
It's interesting that you say that bridges should be quiet. It's like when someone asks you, how was your flight? It's like, well, what do you...
Uneventful.
Uneventful. If it's eventful, that's a bad flight. All right. It's the same idea with a live event bridge. So listen, we've got about 5 minutes here. I'm going to kind of close this out, and we'll do some parting thoughts here. Just as a reminder, so this slide behind me here is really meant to kind of reinforce what Unified Operations has brought to the table in terms of a product that we've been partnering with the NBA. But I think, frankly, what you see up here is a bunch of friendly banter between folks that have been working really closely together for a long time. And that partnership and relationship is really at the heart of it. Rather than a transactional standard model, it's sort of we're in this together, which I think has been great. And from the AWS side, thank you. Like, it would not be going well without your leaning in and making sure that's possible. So thank you for that.
I do want to call out for this. If any of you worked in operations, I've been in operations most of my career. And a lot of the times when something is wrong, it's just you, maybe your team with you trying to solve that problem on the bridge or on your own, trying to make things work. And especially with events like this, seconds matter. This unified operations has really gave me an extra person, an extra team. Like I know that if I need something, Patrick's there, the team is there with experts ready to help me out. Like something is wrong with, I'm doing something wrong with my EKS cluster, right? They'll bring in the experts immediately and start helping me. And just having someone to go to, having that support has made all the difference. It's, allowed us to be successful.
Okay. So early prep, close collab, rapid response. before I let you all go, what's one thing you would like this audience to take away from this chat? It could be about the conference, could be about the playoffs, it could be about, I don't know, anything.
You just left the door wide open for me.
Wide open.
Really excited about this playoffs. I think we have top to bottom really good competition on the East. We already saw the 8 seed sneak out a win against the 1 seed, and then West, like I said, top to bottom, some heavy favorites at the top, but star power all the way through that conference. So I'll leave some people with that. I think in terms of what we actually do in our day jobs, and I think you said the planning, but it's more than just talking about what you're going to do. It's being confident that when you go into any given live situation that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 backups in place. So we have redundancy in our networks and the ability to go in and address any failure should that come up. And that's what keeps things going. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are doing that. For the fan, it looks like the stream worked perfectly, and that's really what we want. And then I'll just wrap it up by thanking you for having us, and really happy with the success of year 1 here. I think it's due to that trust we built and shared vision to deliver to the NBA fans. So, been great.
It's hard to narrow it down to one, so I'm going to give 2 because I want to. One of those is please continue to watch basketball. It is fantastic. I like it. But the other thing is. And I know that there's some people from my teams that I work with here that know that I plan for the worst, and I don't assume success. I just always plan for the worst. So do that. That's probably the most helpful thing. Always be prepared for failure, because makes everything better when it doesn't. So that's it.
Patrick?
I'll say if you're supporting mission critical applications in the cloud on AWS, and you wanted, the team of support to help you through preparations and rapid response, take a look at Unified Operations Media. We have a booth over there by the entrance, so stop by, talk to us afterward. Really love, enjoy to, chat with you all. Thank you.
I'll leave my final thought. When I first met these folks at the NBA, and as Patrick mentioned, they took the time to sit down and educate us on things that, frankly, they probably didn't need to, nor had the time to. So that gives you an idea of the level of ownership and commitment. But I just want to say, I'm very impressed by the technical capability of your entire staff and the ownership. That's one of our, Amazon Kool-Aid here for leadership principles. Ownership is something I see very strongly at the NBA, and we're very impressed. And congratulations on a successful first season. As Patrick said, if you want to learn more about unified operations, it's in our AWS booth. If you can't figure it out, look for the guy in the jersey. But I think that's it. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of NAB, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.